Welcome, guys, to this week's podcast. This week we're going to be talking about travel planning.
Trip planning, travel planning.
So in this little podcast, we'll discuss how we find campsites, seasons to avoid in Australia, the weather, and where we do fill up with fuel and gas, and water and stuff like that. So it should be a good little podcast for everyone.
Yeah, just answer all those little basic questions people have. And yeah.
And you guys are joining us for dinner as well. We got the chicken on the rotisserie in front of us in the Vic pit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be interesting with you guys watching it. All right. Well, yeah, let's get into it.
So, big thing that plays a part in our trip planning is the seasons. Mm-hmm. We govern our trip around the seasons.
Yep. So before we left off, we knew that there's a wet and dry season up the top of Australia. Mm-hmm. So it's very important that you get that right. You can always research when that is, but generally you want to be in the top half of Australia around the June, July
like winter.
time.
Winter.
Yeah, winter, because up there it's not actually winter because it's still hot.
Yeah.
And then, and if you're below the line in Australia, like in Melbourne, Esperance and all of that, it's very cold during that time. So everyone normally migrates up north, just like the whales.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so you basically, you want to avoid the top half of Australia in the wet season because places will be closed, it'd be too hot, too humid, that sort of thing. So
yeah, it's dangerous up there because the roads closed because you got the cyclones that come in all over the place, and when they come in, they bring a heap of water and everywhere gets flooded, and that's when roads close and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, so seasons. Just keep an eye on the seasons. Yeah, that's been a big govern on how we've planned our trip around.
Well, yeah, major govern.
Yeah, major govern.
Yeah.
Because we obviously left in March and we knew that obviously the wet season was coming to an end. So briefly, that's why we chose then to go north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing after seasons is the weather. Once again, relates to the seasons, but the weather is very interesting in Australia because it can make or break your trip or your mini trip.
Yeah, weather can play a major part on a place. It could be beautiful in sunshine, but obviously absolutely miserable in rain, which is just common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for example, when we were in Esperance, it was raining for like a week. So we knew it was going to be bad to go and explore and stuff because it wouldn't look like the photos. You see all these beautiful photos in Esperance, but when it's raining and overcast, you have a look and it's very dull and takes it away from it. So, yeah, all we do is just set up camp.
Yeah, we just planned ahead. In Esperance, we checked the weather. That's what we're constantly doing on the road, checking the weather. We saw the Esperance, it was going to have a couple of days of rain, and then it was going to fine up. So Esperance is one of our big ticket items, so we just made sure we gave enough time there to see it in all its glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one we're checking the weather is the wind. So in Tasmania, there's a lot of wind in Tasmania, and there was some really bad wind gusts coming through, and we look it up on Willy Weather. That's our source of how we get everything because it's really up to date and close. And the advantage of checking the wind and stuff like that is because we're in the pop top. If we get really big gusts of wind coming through, we don't want anything to destroy the pop top. So we end up just popping down and locking everything in when these big gusts come through.
Yeah, it just shakes the caravan all night. It's just not pleasant.
Yeah, and you get a rough sleep as well.
Yeah. So that's just weather. You just want to keep an eye on the weather because that will determine how comfortable you're going to be camping. Yeah. Because those nights are not comfortable.
Yeah, so if you can, escape because you'll have a bad sleep,
So one of these big things with weather is if you've got a place you want to see, you want to make sure you've got enough time to potentially wait out bad weather. Yeah, like for example, Lucky Bay. Lucky Bay is a big ticket item. A lot of people want to go there, get a photo with kangaroo on the beach. We had to keep an eye on the weather because there was only one good day that it was going to be beautiful in Cape Le Grand. We see so many travellers that are on such a tight schedule that they only allow like one day in places, obviously, because it's a tight schedule. They'll get there, it's raining, miserable, and it's obviously it dampens their spirits and it dampens what they thought about the place because of the weather. Nothing that they can do, but yeah, if you don't have such a tight schedule, if there's some places that you really want to see, make sure you got those extra days up your sleeve because weather is unpredictable.
Yeah. Like a lot of these beautiful places in the videos that you see of us, we may have waited a week prior or so just to get the right shots, you know what I mean?
That's the beauty of not having a time limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just take it day by day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So factors when planning the big lap is school holidays.
Yeah, really take into consideration school holidays and upcoming public holidays.
And public holidays, yeah, true. Because a lot of camps will just get bombarded with people of all genre, you know, your families, the nomads and the weekenders and the locals. The locals tend to not go there because they know it's going to be chockers.
Yeah.
But yeah, just what we do in public holidays and school holidays is we actually head inland.
Yeah, we had to wait. Yeah, so for school holidays, everywhere gets busy, everywhere gets more expensive, crammed in. I mean, attractions just get bombarded, and that's just not our sort of cup of tea. We're not really a fan of crowds, so when upcoming school holidays are coming up, we just tend to head inland or hide away.
Yeah. Inland's been the best because not many people come inland.
Yeah, a lot of families tend to holiday on the coast. Which, it works in our favour, just head inland.
Yeah. And now the advantage of that is you're actually going to save money because school holidays, caravan parks jack the prices up like 20% at least, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to be saving money. You'll have some down days, and down days are when we just chill, you know? Because if you keep going, adventuring, exploring and all of that, you just burn
yourself out. It just gets exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great living on the road, but believe us when we say it can be exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, poor souls. We have such a hard life. But you're constantly trying to think about your next campsite. You're thinking about where you're going to get water, making sure you got enough fuel. Is there anything coming up that you need to plan, like postage, doctor's appointments? So, I mean, you do that back home, but on the road, it's very constant go too, because you're sightseeing, constantly setting up, packing up, just that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it pays to have your down days.
Yeah, definitely.
Just relax, recoup.
Yeah. So you'll notice at the moment Rusty's a bit on edge. Following our last podcast, we were discussing how if there's other dogs in the area, she gets on the edge. So that's what she's doing at the moment.
Yeah,
she's keeping an eye on things.
A local drive past with these two dogs. I think he's just letting them have a run, but she can hear them barking and she's a little bit on edge.
Yeah.
So we've just popped her on the lead, so she's
doesn't run off.
Contained.
All right. Okay, so what I'm going to discuss now is the safety aspects of schedules and, you know, how fast people go and stuff like that. This is more related to like the Gib and Cape York. We noticed that, and I've been up to the Cape 2 times now, so I've got a good idea of what's going on. So what happens is when there's really tight schedules, people are just going for it, hell to leather, you know?
Yeah.
They're just banging it.
Tight deadlines, they need to be here.
Yeah.
It just, you can see that they're speeding past you.
Yeah, so the problem with that is you got the dust and multiple vehicles and stuff like that, and that's how accidents happen and all that stuff. So I know with us, because we don't have a time limit, it's easy for us to just cruise along at 80 k's an hour. And I know with school holidays and stuff, people have only got limited times, but at the same time, just make sure you plan it so you're not having to really rush that hardcore to get to places, you know.
Yeah.
And as well with the big lap, if you're driving 5 hours every day, that's going to take a toll on everyone in the car. And if you've got families, if you've got kids in the back and stuff like that, or dogs for that matter, and it's just not a good way of going about it. It'll actually probably ruin the trip, to be honest, because you'll be in the car the whole time, and that's no good.
Yeah, you just want to plan smart, give yourself plenty of time up your sleeve.
Because generally we average out, we normally drive between about an hour or 2 hours between campsites every now and then. Yeah,
we probably average, I'd say 50 to like maximum maybe 400 k's a day. That's sort of we might only move 50 k's to the next town. Some days we might only move 10. And then some days when we're in remote places, we might drive for a couple of hours just because there's nothing there. Like there's nothing to see.
And if there's nothing there and your only choice of camping is like a gravel pit, go there. It's actually, gravel pits are not that bad. They're just a big blank piece of ground, and you just set up, and chances are you'll be there by yourself and loving it. You'll get to see the stars and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of our favourite camps have been gravel pits.
Yeah. So that's about schedules, touching on that. So,
So a common question we get asked is, how do you find all these beautiful campsites that we go to? To be honest, the number one thing we use to find camps is WikiCamps, the app. I think it costs $7 to download on your phone, and it's pretty much like a Bible for us. Not only does it have campsites, it has dump points, water points, points of interest. It's a very good app, and I think anyone on the road should, if they don't already, they'll have WikiCamps, and definitely get WikiCamps. Yeah,
out of all the apps out there, WikiCamps is a must. I can't believe it's only $7. It's that good.
Yeah, and it's user friendly. So it's good because you can read recent comments on places. You can read if there's any trouble, if there's water in the place. They might say, hey, the water tap's broken. So it's very user friendly, which is what we like. People can post photos. It gives you,
It's user input comments and user input anything. So you're going to get a really good idea on the place if it's good or not, because everyone will be commenting on it.
Yeah, and they got offline maps you can download. So when we're remote, we have the offline versions we can sort of look up, and it will just give us the comments from whenever we last downloaded it. Yeah. It's
a really good app. No, the only downside about the app is that because it's user input, anyone can change anything. Now that could work in pretty bad situations. For example, if we go to a camp and it's dog friendly, someone who doesn't like dogs can actually change it from dog friendly to not dog friendly. So that when people go and want to camp there, they'll go, oh, it's not dog friendly, we can't go there. When actually it is, but someone's just been a bit negative and done that. So
we've actually had this down in Tasmania. We were camping on the west coast, and there was some camp spots that we wanted to go to. There was one that said it was dog friendly, and the other one said they weren't dog friendly, but they're all in like this state forest. So we went to the ranger station to get our permit. I had a chat to her. I said, hey, we have a dog, where can we camp? And she said, you can camp at any 4 of these spots. I said, oh, on this WikiCamps it says it's not dog friendly. She said, yeah, that's not correct. So it just goes to show, always double check, not just for, obviously double check state forests and stuff, but also caravan parks. Someone could just easily put the no dog symbol on a caravan park when in fact they take dogs. So if it's sort of your only option, or you really want to stay there, just ring up the caravan parks and just say, hey, what's your pet policy?
Camp's 9 now. Camp's 9, so if you're a bit not tech savvy and you don't like using the online world and apps and stuff like that, Camps 9 is a great tool. We found it's great because you can, if you want to explain something to a traveller, you can actually show them.
Yeah, you just pull out the paper map, and it's so much easier to talk, to show a map, and people can just point and say, oh, go here, don't go there. So
it's just old school.
Always good to have paper maps.
And the only disadvantage with Camps 9 is it's got a lot less camps, because Camps 9 has to be official campsites. So whereas WikiCamps, you got the gravel pits and stuff like that. So it pays to have both if you can.
Pays to have both, but just also ask around. We regularly go into the visitor information centres. Just ask, get pamphlets and just see what's around. Not just where to camp, but also what to see. That sort of stuff.
Ask the locals. Ask social media.
They might be able to give you a good secret camp that's not on anywhere that you're allowed to go camp at. So
or even
pays to ask.
Even the back of their house sometimes. Okay, so we'll just talk about how we get water and stuff like that. Predominantly and mainly we get water at the dump points. So at the dump point, you've got 2 water taps. One will be portable water, which is beautiful fresh water, and the other one will be bore water, and they use that for the dump point. So it's I think like 95% of the time you'll go to a dump point location and there'll be water.
Which you can confirm on WikiCamps generally.
I mean, people say they fill up at petrol stations and stuff like that, but we've never needed to.
Information centres is always another good one.
Info centres,
Always generally have water, or they'll tell you where you can go get fresh water.
RV friendly camps will generally have it as well. Yep. And as for the dump point, so because we got the toilet inside the caravan, we just obviously go to the dump point. There's dump points everywhere. It's very rare that there's not a dump point. So that's that. Stocking up at major towns.
So when we're going sort of remote, I'll generally Google where the supermarkets are. I mean, most remote towns will have like a little food works or an IGA, independent grocery, where you can get basic stuff, but obviously the prices are more expensive. So when we're planning our trips, sort of, I'll be stocking up in like Woolies and Coles where I can, because obviously the prices are low. And the advantage of us, we've got the Waco fridge freezer, so I can stock up on meat, and then we generally just get a bit of fruit and veg on the go as we need it. So, I mean, it's just common sense. Stock up where you can. Yeah.
And there's always shops, towns.
There's always shops. You can always get a carton of milk. A tin of baked beans. Like, you're never going to go hungry.
Always get like a couple of litres of long life milk.
Oh, yeah, Yeah, so
cups of teas.
We'll buy a couple of litres of fresh milk, which sit in the fridge, and then we've got a few cartons of long life milk. So if we don't get somewhere where we can get fresh milk, we just crack open the long lives. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how we do our washing. I think Amy will take this one.
Oh, yeah. I get this question a lot. They're like, how do you guys do your washing on the road? It's quite simple. We just go to a laundromat, or we use a washing machine in a caravan park. I mean, generally its price is about $4, which is a cup of coffee, and I can probably do a load maybe every 2 weeks, maybe 3. So we've got plenty of clothes, plenty of bed sheets and stuff like that. So it's not really worth us carrying a washing machine. I'll
just touch on that. The washing machines, they're great. The portable ones you can buy from Aldi and all that. But
good for families which have a lot of washing, but just for me and Kurt, we don't have too much.
I'm trying to talk, darling. These washing machines, they use a heap of water, so you don't really, I don't know if you'd use it that often. I mean, in caravan parks you would, because you got heaps of water, but they use a lot of water, so get prepared if you do have one, or you're planning on buying one, to use a lot of water. And they use power obviously as well, but that's not too bad. But having somewhere to store these washing machines, a lot of new vans come with washing machines, so it's pretty good, but generally you can only wash your undies and socks in them because they're not even that bloody big, so what's the bloody point? So like here for example, Amy's just done a bit of hand washing. It's not that hard.
It is. I only do hand washing once every 6 months. It was a rare occasion, guys. There was no laundromat here in Mikathara where we are, so because they have potable water, we had a bit of washing, so I had to do my hand washing. My one lot of hand washing I do probably every 6 months, but like I said, majority of the time I just chuck them in a washing machine. Okay, so we're going to talk about how we get fuel and gas. Fuel's pretty straightforward. There is petrol, there's diesel, and there's petrol stations everywhere around Australia. We don't even run a long range tank. We have 2 jerry cans that are set aside for diesel, which we only use in a blue moon. Like coming from Exmav to here, we had to use one. But so generally, the most you should anticipate is 500 kilometers to 600 kilometer range. That's how we've got away with everything. We never had a problem. So it's always worth filling up when you can, especially the more remote you go, because the petrol station could be closed or run out of diesel, and that's happened a couple of times. But we've been lucky that we haven't needed to use them. So now we're just going to talk about gas, what we do about gas. We got 2 9-litre bottles of gas in the caravan, and they tend to last us about 3 weeks per gas bottle. So we've got about 6 weeks of gas range, which is awesome. So we'll always have enough gas to do whatever. That's generally if we're free camping and running the hot water, it'll last 3 weeks. They can last a lot longer, especially if we're jumping between powered sites. Putting the fridge on 240 and having showers in caravan parks, the gas, it lasts longer than the 3 weeks. 3 weeks is what sort of the
average.
Yeah, average we'll get out of it. Yeah.
And we just use the swap and goes. We do, we can refill at BCF and all that every now and then, but the swap and goes are so easy and they're so cheap now. So we just,
so quick.
Yeah, we just get in, swap it, get out, and that's it.
Yeah.
The disadvantage with swap and goes is your gas cylinder can vary from what you give back and to what you receive. So be aware of that, because we got a couple of tanks that don't actually sit where they're meant to sit in the boot, and that can be a bit annoying and frustrating, especially if you got like certain mounting things for your gas cylinders. And if that's the case, you just got to refill it normally.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's gas.
Just touching on them, we have apps. So I'm sure most people know there's a gas app and there is a fuel app, which they will tell you the cheapest gas and fuel in town. I think it's called Gas Mate.
Yeah.
And I think the other one is called
Fuel Mate.
Fuel Map. Don't quote me
Fuel
on
Map.
this.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them. So we use them a lot because obviously you want to shop around and get the cheapest price. So the fuel app's good. We can see cheaper prices, especially on the highway between the roadhouses. It might be 10 cents cheaper, like another 20k up. So it pays to check that app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Points of interest that we see along the way. So how do we find all these amazing places that we find? Predominantly it's wiki camps, isn't it?
Yeah, wiki camps is, like we said, our Bible. Generally I'll just go through and I'll pin what I think it would be good to see and what we should see. And then when we're traveling through the day, I'll say, hey Kurt, there's a point of interest over here, let's go check it out. Or tomorrow let's go around and see this, this and this. It always changes on the fly. You can see roadside signs and all sorts of stuff, but generally I sort of pin everything on wiki camps. Then we've got a rough route on where we're going, but also like what we can see.
Yeah.
Alright guys, well I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully your mouths aren't drooling too much over our chicken.
That's going to be bloody close now. Looks so good. Anyway.
Have you got any more questions about anything basic we haven't really covered in this podcast about just trip planning in general? Just leave us a comment, ask away.
Yeah, hope we helped you guys out a lot.
Answered a few questions.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, we're just going to sit back, wait for this cook to cook.
Yeah.
Watch the sunset.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Enjoy your travels, guys.
All right, we'll see you in the next one.
Ciao.
Everyone ready?
Today's is we actually head inland.
Yeah, we head away. Pause. Yeah,
awkward.
Awkward.
Ciao.
Ciao. And then you can cut to you being like a Mexican.